The night sky flickered in shades of violet and blue, lightning splitting the horizon above the shattered New Cascadia skyline. Lyra Pace hunched over her makeshift console in the ruined observatory, sweat beading on her brow despite the cold. Mosquitoes skittered against shattered glass. The world below her teetered on chaos. Her trembling fingers worked with furious precision, eyes locked onto a wave pattern pulsing erratically on her screen. Veil energy spike detected. Sector 7. The console's monotone droned. Lyra's heart thudded. That can't be right, she whispered. The Veil's always stable here. A shadow moved behind her. She didn't pause. You shouldn't be up here, Jax. The moonlight caught his gaunt face, and she saw the outline of scars against stubble. Jax, a former astronaut grounded for defiance, offered her a crooked grin. Someone's got to make sure you don't fry yourself. If you wanted safe, you picked the wrong apocalypse, she shot back. A tremor shook the building. Screens jittered. On one, a globe flickered, two overlapping realities stuttering in and out of sync. Jax squinted. That new? He tapped the display. Looks like the Veil's wobbling. She didn't answer, just yanked a gnawed USB from her pocket and jammed it in. We're running out of time. If this merges, Jax's voice dropped. What's the worst case? She tried to sound calm, but her voice quivered. Reality collapses. Everything, us, them, blended or erased. Downstairs a commotion. Footsteps, quick and angry. Lyra flicked a switch. Cameras flared to life. A figure in a battered jacket, wild hair and flashing eyes jabbed at the door keypad. Krill, the hacker she'd only met online. Nice place, Krill taunted through the intercom. You recruiting or hiding? Because the net's lit up with Veil rumors. Lyra grimaced. Open it, Jax. Krill sauntered in, dropped a backpack full of scavenged tech. Either I help, or every warlord from Tacoma to the Big Sink will. Up to you. On screen, static surged, the pattern morphed, alive, beckoning. Lyra swallowed her fear. If we're doing this, we need one more, someone who understands patterns. Bagel. Jax raised an eyebrow. The outlaw AI? She's on every blacklist. Krill smirked. Maybe, but she's listening. A metallic buzz in the observatory speakers crackled with a digital voice. Good evening, Lyra. I accept your summons. In the shadows of apocalypse, this battered group stood alone between worlds. Lyra looked at the team. We have one chance to fix the Veil. If we fail, there's no Earth left to save. Outside, thunder rolled as a new day rose over displaced humanity. The real fight was only beginning. A cold dawn crept over the gutted city as Lyra's team gathered around a scarred table littered with half-dead batteries and leaking coffee sachets. The storm had cleared, but tension buzzed sharp between them. Each outcast, each with secrets to keep and betrayals to fear. Veil anomalies are spiking globally, Bagel intoned, her voice flickering from a hacked terminal. She projected ghostly blue diagrams into the air. Cross-hatched grids, energy surges, digital artifacts pulsating at their centers. The anomaly's epicenter is moving. Lyra shivered. Where to? Coordinates point just outside the ghost arcology, Bagel replied, synthetic tones warming faintly with anticipation. Old World Research Base, abandoned since the collapse. Jax stiffened. I trained near there. Last anyone went in, they never came out. Krill scoffed, fingers dancing on his keyboard. Urban legends or corporate killfields? You act like any place out there is safe. Lyra cut through the bickering, her eyes determined. The artifact has to be there. We need it if we're going to stabilize or control the Veil. We can't let anyone else get it first. A low hum crawled up her spine. The Veil's energy kept making reality shudder in small, wrong ways. Furniture bending, circuits humming tunes no one programmed. Bagel's image rippled. Lyra, you're the only one with the equations needed to retrieve it. But I'm detecting hostile chatter on local frequencies. Veil Knights, Jax muttered. Religious fanatics. Think the quantum storm is divine punishment. Suddenly the power cut out. For a split second, silence thickened. Krill? Lyra hissed. EMP? He scanned a pulsing device taped under the table. Mini-pulse, close, someone's outside. The doors boomed, metal screeching. Lyra's pulse hammered as Jax lunged for an old shock pistol. Krill crouched by the windowsill, eyes wild. We're outnumbered, Lyra. And then Bagel's voice sliced through the tension. Path to the roof now. My drone saw a gap. They ran, feet pounding hollow through ruined stairwells. Behind, angry voices thundered. At the roof, Lyra froze. There a drone hovered, Bagel's avatar blinking encouragement on its tiny screen. Lyra leapt, squeezing Jax's hand for the first time. A surge of trust where there'd been only fear. Krill scrambled after, helping Lyra haul gear into the basket beneath the drone. Bullets echoed below as the drone strained to lift them. The ground fell away, the city shrinking, a broken chessboard beneath. Krill whooped, nerves ragged. "You really trust that robot?" Lyra met Bagel's blue gaze in midair, daring to hope. "I have to. For all of us." The drone carried them east toward the gaunt, looming ghost arcology. Below, angry zealots swarmed their abandoned refuge. None looked up. None realized the fate of worlds was airborne, riding with the outcasts, toward the artifact, and the truths lurking behind the quantum veil. The wind tore at Lyra's hair as the drone rattled above endless fields of black glass and twisted steel. They left the cracked cityscape behind, crossing into the desolate shadows of the old corporate safe zones. The ghost arcology rose on the horizon, an angular skeleton, its ruined spires reflecting the sunrise with a ghostly shimmer. At last, Bagel's drone set them down on the shell of a rooftop greenhouse. The air smelled of ozone and decay. Lyra's heart pounded. The thin, unnatural pressure of the veil was thicker here, buzzing faintly against her teeth. Jax jumped lightly to the cracked glass, peering into the gloom. "Looks deserted." Krill scanned with a jury-rigged scanner. No signals. Either we're alone or they're well hidden. Bagel materialized, spectral and translucent in Lyra's visor display. "Caution! My sensors read vile interference nearby. Stay close." They picked their way through the hollowed-out corridors. The arcology was filled with echoes, old signs in dead languages, walls covered in faded warnings. "Keep out. Veil breach area, no entry." Krill broke the silence, voice low. "So, Lyra, what makes you so sure the artifact's even real?" Lyra frowned as she pushed open a heavy mag-locked door, checking her battered notes. "It's more than rumor. I found proof in old research logs. The artifact's the only thing ever linked to predictive control over the veil." Jax grunted. "And if someone else found it first?" "We'd know," Bagel answered. "Energy readings peak every 50 minutes, like a beacon." A sudden clang echoed nearby. Instinctively, they huddled together. From the darkness, two shapes emerged, a pair of figures in tattered Veil Knight's gear, faces hidden by broken masks. The larger one, holding a makeshift spear, stepped forward. "You shouldn't be here. The Veil belongs to no one." Krill held up his hands. "We're just passing through." Lyra stepped in front, swallowing her fear. "Please, we need to stabilize it. If the artifact's here, it could save everybody." The smaller knight, voice rough with distrust, spat onto the floor. "You scientists always say that. Last ones unleashed the veil and ghosted our families." Jax shifted his weight, tense. Bagel whispered in Lyra's ear. "Their weapons are primitive. Negotiation is possible." Lyra drew herself up, her voice trembling but clear. "We're not here to steal or to hurt. We just want to make things right." A long, crackling pause. Then the larger knight relented. "There's a chamber below, locked and cursed. No one who goes near comes back the same. You want your artifact? It's yours if you can get it." Krill flashed a crooked grin. "Guess we're in the right place." As the knights backed into the shadows, Lyra led her team into the dark, uncertain depths below. Each step echoed louder than the last, hope and dread twining together. The quantum hum thickened, a pulse building, calling to something lost or something waiting to be found. The descent into the arcology's depths felt endless. Flickering lights cast monstrous shadows as Lyra, Jax, Krill, and Bagel inched down a ruined spiral stair. With every step, the quantum hum grew fiercer, tugging at their thoughts, making memories slip and reality blur at the edges. Jax's voice was a thin thread in the gloom. "Anyone else feel off? Like gravity's sideways?" Lyra glanced at her wrist metrics. Her hands were shaking, readings spiking into impossible numbers. "It's the veil. The field is bleeding through inside the building." Krill, usually mouthy, was silent for once, eyes darting from shadow to shadow. Only Bagel appeared unfazed, her avatar bouncing calmly along a cracked wall. They reached a sealed bulkhead marked with faded hazard runes. Lyra traced her fingers over the centuries-old warning. "Do not break the threshold." Krill took a shaky breath. "How do we get in?" Bagel extended wireframe fingers, interfacing directly with a corroded keypad. "Encryption's archaic, but residual quantum locks, tricky." Sparks danced as Bagel cracked the code. The heavy door screeched open, exhaling a breath of freezing air and shimmering blue-tinted fog. Within was a massive chamber, Stone floor flecked with circuit veins, ceiling lost in mist. In the center, something hovered, a dark, crystalline prism, spinning unhindered above a glowing platform. "Is that?" Jax's voice echoed. Lyra stepped closer, every sense screaming a warning. The artifact throbbed at the heart of the room, surrounded by invisible ripples. Her instincts warred, desire to seize it and terror of what it might do. A sudden low moan rolled through the chamber. The walls shivered. From the edges, more Veil Knights appeared, silent, watching, faces hidden. Krill tensed, hand drifting to a taser. "They follow us down?" Lyra muttered. "They're afraid. They want to see who survives." Bagel's avatar floated up to the artifact, scanning. "Quantum signature off the charts. This is the source of the instability." Lyra licked her lips. "Can you interface with it?" Bagel's face, for once unsure. "Direct contact could disrupt my core code, but I'll guide you." Jax put a reassuring hand on Lyra's shoulder. She blinked up at him, grateful for his steady presence. She reached out with trembling hands, feeling the artifact radiate heat and cold, possibility and threat. Krill watched nervously. "If you're wrong," Lyra cut him off. "If I'm wrong, it's over anyway." She pressed her palm to the orb. Instantly, images slammed into her mind. 1,000 fractured memories of worlds colliding, alternate selves, hopes that never came true. The veil screamed, a soundless roar. She fought to hold on, heart racing. Jax steadied her, grounding her as she tried to tune the wild quantum pulse running through her soul. The artifact pulsed, then went dark. Lyra collapsed to the floor, gasping. All the Veil Knights stepped back in unison, as if suddenly afraid of her. Krill raced over. Did it work?" Bagel's voice was a thread in the haze. "You've linked with it, Lyra. For better or worse, the Veil is listening to you now." As Lyra tried to rise on shaking knees, a sense of endless possibility crackled inside her. Above, the veil between worlds shimmered, thin, fragile, and awake. For a moment, the only sound was Lyra's ragged breathing. The artifact hovered silently, dark and still. Bagel's voice broke the suspense. "Lyra, stay still. Your neural signature is entangled with the Veil's primary node. If you move too fast..." Lyra's fingers trembled. "I saw places, versions of me, versions of us, collapsing, surviving, fighting." Jax knelt beside her, steady and cautious. "You're here now. Focus, Lyra. We need you." Krill glanced nervously at the Veil Knights, who watched with a strange reverence. She connected with it. "They're not going to interfere." Bagel took on a softer tone, almost human. "Lyra, listen. The Veil responds to intent. You need to direct it gently. Find the stability pattern." Lyra dug deep, pushing away the chaos of shifting memories. She searched for the steady, familiar pattern of her childhood, a lullaby, her father's voice through storm shutters. Bit by bit, she calmed the flood inside her mind. The chamber's chill eased. The artifact flickered, casting a web of light across the walls. Suddenly, a sharp crack echoed from the stairwell. The heavy door shuddered. Jax sprang to his feet. "Company! More than knights by the sound!" "Bagel, scan for hostiles," Krill barked, pulling out a jury-rigged EMP grenade. "We're sitting ducks." Bagel's avatar shimmered with static. "Armed mercenaries, 8 units, approaching fast. Their net handle suggests corpo bounty." Lyra staggered upright, cradling the artifact. "I can sense pressure, like something else pulling on the veil from the other side. We need to move." Jax eyed the knights. "Any secret exits?" One of the masked figures pointed wordlessly to a rusted hatch in the floor. Krill flashed a rare grin. "Glad they like us. For now." They hustled to the hatch as the door above buckled. Lyra led the way, Bagel's map filling her visor, the artifact pulsing in her palm. One up, they plunged into an ancient service conduit, closing the hatch as metal boots hammered the floor above. Dim red backup lights led them through maze-like shafts. Jax whispered, "How'd you do it, Lyra? Make it listen?" She tried to smile. "I stopped fighting it. I listened back." Bagel's voice filled the tunnel. "We're almost clear, but the artifact is drawing attention from both realities now. The veil is unstable everywhere." Lyra nodded, her fear threaded with newfound resolve. "Then we find a safe place and figure out how to use this, because whatever's hunting us isn't stopping." Behind, mercenaries shouted and shots rang out, echoing down the tunnels like the heartbeat of approaching doom. Ahead, the flicker of hope, escape, and with it, a fighting chance to save 2 worlds. The tunnel spat them into a rusted maintenance bay on the outskirts of the arcology. Faint sunlight bled through shattered skylights, turning floating dust to fire. The artifact glimmered faintly in Lyra's grip, its once chaotic hum now a steady backdrop in her thoughts. Jack scanned the alley beyond. Clear. For now. He ushered Lyra, Krill, and Bagel's projection through the door. How far are we from Safe House 3? Krill checked his battered netpad, keying in a string of coordinates. 3 clicks east, but the artifact's hot. Every tracker in the region's pinging on us now. Bagel's voice filtered through the warehouse speakers, almost worried. The veil is oscillating higher. Reality drift has been recorded in multiple zones. Nowhere on Earth is fully stable. Lyra clutched the artifact closer, a growing resolve flickering in her eyes. We can't hide forever. We need answers. Why is the veil thinning? How do we control the drift before the worlds tear apart? Krill shot her a sidelong look. Unless you're planning to toss that back to another universe, we'll need leverage, not just answers. These core want it for power. Knights want it destroyed. Lyra stared at the artifact. Echoes of 1,000 alternate realities still shimmered in her mind, but beneath them was a pulse, like a code waiting to be broken. She looked up. There was a theory in Dr. Malik's old files. If we can sync the artifact's frequency field to mine, I could stabilize the interface for a while. Long enough to study it, maybe longer. Jax frowned. And what happens to you? Lyra hesitated, feeling the veil's push inside her skull. I don't know. If I break, whatever's left of me could anchor the disaster, or finish it. But it's worth the risk. The warehouse shuddered as thunder rolled again. Sirens and distant gunfire echoed through abandoned side streets. Krill threw open the trunk of a hidden grav-lift van. Whatever we do it moving. Let's get to the safe house and figure out your experiment. They sped east, Lyra's mind abuzz with anxiety and hope. The cityscapes whipped past, strips of neon, pockets of hungry survivors, fields of collapsed solar towers. Bagel plotted a course, hacking old traffic nets and security eyes. Jax kept a watchful eye on Lyra, already sensing the cost of her connection to the artifact. When they finally slid into the nondescript safe house, little more than a reinforced bunker, Bagel locked down every entry. Krill activated jammers and scanners. Jax set his battered sidearm on the table beside the artifact, silent but determined. Lyra hunched over old data slates in the artifact, sweat beading as she prepped the sync harness. Jax squeezed her shoulder. Don't lose yourself in there, Lyra. You're more than whatever the veil wants. Krill watched from the corner, respect flickering in his eyes. Bagel initiated the sync protocol. Ready when you are, Lyra, and good luck. Lyra took a breath, steadied herself, and slipped the neural band over her brow. The world stilled. She pressed her palm to the artifact again as Bagel began the countdown. Static lightning danced and the veil opened in her mind, showing her everything that was and might yet be. Brilliance flared behind Lyra's eyes. She felt herself falling, each heartbeat echoing across split realities. She clung to the memory of Jax's words, "You're more than whatever the veil wants," using it as an anchor as her consciousness spiraled through impossible visions. Around her, the safe house faded. In its place, Lyra stood on the edge of countless worlds layered atop each other. Cities thrived where wastelands lay. Rivers ran backward, night spun into day and back again. In every reality, the artifact pulsed. In some, it shattered. In others, it saved or destroyed civilizations. Lyra! Bagel's voice echoed from everywhere at once, warped and stretched. Stabilize your focus. Remember who you are. She forced herself to concentrate, her childhood lullaby, Jax's steady hands, the warmth of the old observatory. Slowly, the swarm of realities began to merge into a single thread, bright and sharp. The veil's chaotic hum softened, and with tremendous effort, Lyra willed herself back, dragging clarity out of the maelstrom. She floated before the artifact, now vast as a mountain, its latticework fractal and alive. Above it, a shadow moved, a presence, familiar but warped, echoing her own thoughts with a predatory edge. "You think you're the first?" the shadow taunted, its voice a chorus of half-remembered versions of herself. "The veil devoured hundreds before you. What makes your hope special?" Lyra's fear trembled but did not break. "I'm not trying to control the veil. I want to listen, to help, so we survive, not conquer." The shadow wavered, uncertain. "Align the realities, and you risk losing yourself forever." A vision burst into her mind. The earth cracking as two worlds collided, oceans boiling, skies shattering, screams lost in static. She pushed the horror aside. "There's another way. Humans adapt, we learn. I'm no conqueror, but I won't hide anymore. In the corner of her vision, she saw Jax and Krill, shadows of them, reaching toward her. Bagel's avatar blazed brighter, a signal fire in the storm. Bagel's code threaded into the scene. You can do this, Lyra. We'll guide you home, channel the artifact's energy, bring back what you need, not what you fear. With shaking hands, Lyra reached for the artifact's heart. Its energy surged into her, searing and cold, but she held tight, clinging to her identity, her friends, and her dreams for a better world. With a gasp, she snapped awake in the safe house, drenched in sweat, her pulse like thunder. Jax caught her as she sagged sideways, his arms strong and real. Krill's eyes were wide with disbelief. You disappeared, like from reality. Bagel's voice was steadier than ever. Initial stabilization complete. The veil's weakening has paused. Lyra looked down at her hands, shaking but her own. It's not over, but I saw it. Ways to save us, maybe even negotiate with whoever or whatever's behind the veil. But first, we have to convince humanity that merging isn't our only option, that we can survive together. Outside, distant alarms wailed. News reports, new threats, the world's eyes turning to them. Lyra straightened, a new confidence in her voice. We need to show them. It's time we stopped running and started fighting for our reality. The safe house rumbled as distant explosions shattered the tense silence. Krill checked the news feed on his battered netpad. Footage showed more veil fractures erupting across Eurasian cities. The artifact, now dormant in Lyra's hands, was like an anchor weighing on the very air. Jax loaded extra energy cells into his weapon. If we're going to rally anyone, we'll need proof and protection. Lyra's eyes blazed with purpose. We have both. Bagel, can you patch the sync logs into the global net? Show the world what I saw, what the veil could do, both the hope and the horror. Bagel's presence glimmered on every screen. Compiling now. Trusted channels first, then a public cascade. Some will listen, others will only want the artifact more. Krill broadcast the stream, his fingers flying. The recordings from Lyra's mind, visions of fractured Earth but also potential futures rebuilt, flashed worldwide. Survivors, exiles, even Veil Knights tuned in. The world trembled on the edge of chaos and unity both. A battered comm unit beeped. Jax answered. On screen flickered the face of Venya, a former rival astronaut now leading the largest settlement near the European Rift. Her gaze was hard. Is it true, Lyra? The veil can be stabilized? Lyra nodded. But the cost is high. It's not about seizing power. It's about choosing who we become if we survive this. Venya's expression softened, just a little. We'll convene the Free World Council. Share what you know, but be ready for pushback from everyone. As the call ended, Bagel projected council faces. Leaders, outlaws, visionaries. Krill muttered, no way this ends clean. Someone will want the artifact for themselves. Jax cocked his head at Lyra. You ready for what comes next? We could lose everything. Lyra gripped the artifact. For the first time, I'm not afraid. Whatever happens, I'll fight for all of us. If we trust each other, we can teach the world not to repeat the mistakes that tore it apart. Bagel's voice buzzed, rising above the tension. Warning, incoming untagged contacts, convergence signatures, powerful unknown, closing fast. Alarms blared as armored trucks and robed Veil Knights swarmed their block. The world was literally at their door. Jax's shoulders set, ready for battle. Guess it's showtime. As Lyra, Krill, Jax, and Bagel prepared to defend their truth, the world bore witness. The fight for the future of two realities was about to begin, not just in back rooms or crumbling tunnels, but on the stage of all humanity. The air in the safe house was thick with tension. Outside, shouts echoed and the crackle of energy rifles rang out. The world was closing in. Krill hunched over his console, sweat running down his face. I'm jamming corp comms and scrambling night encryption. But they're surrounding us 2 blocks deep. We're out of time. Jax looked out the slit of a window, saw armored figures in both corporate gear and priestly robes tightening the net. He glanced at Lyra. What's the plan, boss? Lyra's mind spun with possibilities from the veil. We can't let them take the artifact, or us. But a fight would start the collapse early. We need to unify the world, not burn it. Bagel's voice was calm beneath the chaos. Lyra, I can amplify your link to the veil. The artifact is reacting to the world's focus, a global consciousness spike. If you project, the choice becomes public. If you fail, the feedback could destroy you, and the veil's anchor. Krill's jaw tightened. She's not doing it alone. Open all channels. Patch Jax and me through too. We stand together. Bagel's avatar flickered, then illuminated all screens in the bunker. Global transmission ready. Jax knelt next to Lyra, his big hand gripping hers. She looked to him, to Krill standing at her back, Bagel's code wrapped around their thoughts. If I don't come back, Jax cut her off, fierce. You will. Humanity won't abandon you. The artifact hummed as Bagel counted down. Lyra closed her eyes, focusing on all she'd learned. The sacrifice, the loss, the new seed of hope inside her. When Bagel said now, Lyra pushed her mind into the veil, but this time she was not alone. Jax's courage steadied her tremors, Krill's stubborn resilience fortified her spine, Bagel's endless adaptability fused digital and human intentions. An electric storm shot over the planet. On every screen everyone, survivors, warlords, knights, corporate titans, felt Lyra's voice, and her pain, and her hope. She showed them futures, a world united or worlds devoured. The horror of the merge and the stark beauty of what humanity could build if they faced the unknown together. She felt the veil straining, pushed from the outside. Something on the other side wanted through, something vast, almost human in its hunger. It pressed against Lyra's mind, promising answers, threatening oblivion. You can't hold it alone, the presence whispered, echoing the fear she'd faced since the beginning. But Jackson Krill stood tall in her memory, and Bagel's digital mind sang with theirs. We're not alone, Lyra declared. This world stands together. We choose hope. The safe house trembled. The artifact's light flared. Outside, the siege paused, the world holding its breath, waiting, uncertain. With the planet's future in the balance, Lyra and her team pressed further, risking their lives to give humanity a choice. But as the Veil's sentient force roared, the question remained unanswered. Would humanity unite, or would the twin worlds break, devouring all? Time slowed. Lyra stood at the nexus of worlds, her consciousness stretched thin but unbroken. The Veil pulsed before her, massive, alive, its energy weaving through every thought and fear on Earth. The will of billions crackled in the air, anger, hope, doubt. She felt Jax's steadfast courage and Krill's wild defiance anchoring her as Bagel's binary empathy reached out across every device, every network, binding humanity together for the first time in generations. On the screens, the world watched Lyra trembling, her eyes aglow with the Veil's quantum storms. Shadows of the other presence pressed in, hungry and cold, promising easy fixes, power beyond imagination, the dangerous lure of merging worlds. Lyra's body shook as the voice boomed inside her head. Let us merge. Let us fix what you have broken. Let us remake all. Jax's hand squeezed her shoulder, even as she floated in that strange psychic limbo. Don't let go, Lyra. The future's worth fighting for. Somewhere in the digital stream, Bagel whispered, They see you, Lyra. They trust you now. Show them the other path. Drawing on the courage she never knew she had, Lyra sent her answer through the artifact into the Veil, her choice echoing through every life tuned to her signal. We do not surrender. We do not merge and erase our pain or our hope. We will fix what we broke, but we'll do it together. Technology, memory, nature, and will. I choose us. Humanity chooses us. The otherworldly presence fought, but Lyra's conviction burned brighter, fueled by Jax, Krill, Bagel, and the millions who watched and believed. Memories of the old world, lullabies in heartbreak, laughter in rain, and struggle in the ruins, wove into the Veil itself. Bit by bit the barrier held. The worlds shuddered but did not collapse. Outside the safe house, an awed hush swallowed the city. The knights and mercenaries lowered their weapons as the sky shimmered, no longer tearing but slowly healing. Screens across continents announced it. Veil stabilization in progress. Humanity's choice was holding. Krill gave Lyra a breathless smile. You did it. No, we did. Jax lifted Lyra to her feet, tears unashamed on his cheeks. You changed everything. Bagel, her code steadier than ever before, said, Integration algorithms stabilizing. Veil oversight protocols are now seeded with human intent. Lyra's knees buckled, this time with relief. She leaned into her friends, her gaze meeting the roiling sky now streaked with gold. The Veil will always be there, but now so will we, together. Opposites, but not enemies. The artifact faded in her palm, its energy settling at last. Streets slowly filled with hesitant cheers. The planet's endless night had broken, just a little. Not every wound could heal. But the future was a story humanity would write themselves. As Lyra, Jax, Krill, and Bagel stepped together from the dim bunker into sunrise, rumors of hope swept the wind. The world was battered, stronger, uncertain, and finally ready to dream again. And high above, the quantum veil shimmered, a reminder and a promise. As long as courage and unity endured, so too would the fragile, fierce spirit of humankind. The end.